ESPN NBA reporter, and she wrote a dynamite column as a senior writer at ESPN.com. Her podcast work is second to none as well. Ramona Shelburne here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Ramona?
Good. How are you doing, Rich?
I am well, and I loved your piece last night, even though the subject matter is nothing to love. But the deep dive 1 year ago is when Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus, and a bunch of Oklahoma City Thunder fans sitting there in the building being told to go home were kind of looking at each other, and so did the rest of the country after all of that. What did you glean from your reporting about what went down 1 year ago tonight?
Well, I think what was kind of amazing is how little we all knew back on March 11th. It's like, the governor of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt, essentially said, we had just had our first case in Oklahoma 5 days earlier. I mean, it really wasn't widespread. It wasn't even in Oklahoma City. It was in Tulsa, and it just seemed like a virus. Like, everybody was watching it. It's in New York. It's in LA. It's in San Francisco or something. But it was really more something that people were just watching. They didn't realize it would really come to their doorstep. And I think we all had this sense, when Rudy Gobert tested positive, like, whoa, no, and hearing the firsthand account from the governor, from Rob Hennigan, who's the general manager there in Oklahoma City, from Adam Silver, of we've had a positive test, what do we do? And there's this chilling moment where Clay Bennett, the owner of the Thunder, says, what's the NBA's policy on this? And Adam Silver and his, I think he was on the phone also with his chief legal counsel, said, well, what's the state policy? And Clay Bennett says, well, I got the governor right here. And literally the music is going, the game's about to tip off, and they have to make this incredible decision on the fly right then. And fortunately, they have the good sense to say, okay, let's just buy ourselves some more time. Let's just send somebody out there to tell the officials and the two teams, stop the game until we can figure out what to do. Because this is a really big decision, and we got to get it right. And it was like to realize how close things were to being different, where if the governor wasn't at the game that night, maybe he's not close enough to talk to the Thunder owner. Maybe he's on the phone instead of in a conference room. Maybe they don't get word to the Thunder until halftime that night, or maybe they wait till after the game, and then all these other players are exposed, and all these other people are exposed. I mean, all of these dominoes that fall, and they fell just right that night, at least, to contain what was obviously a very dangerous situation. But also this sense of, the governor and the Thunder brass having to make this decision without a lot of information. Like, is this airborne? Have people in the arena been exposed? How do we tell them to leave without causing a panic? I mean, there was somebody who suggested, like, should we just pull the fire alarm? Right? I mean, right. No, don't do that. Right, okay. It was really a surreal moment of policy making on the fly that had to be done, where Adam Silver's sitting in his car. The men in Oklahoma are making this huge decision. Michelle Roberts, head of the Players Union, is sitting in an Uber outside her apartment. And major policy affecting thousands of lives in the NBA that night were made over in a dizzying series of phone calls in about 20 or 30 minutes. So
the most powerful man in the NBA is like Bluetooth to his car, having this conversation? Is basically what
we're sitting in the car outside his apartment. I mean, I don't know. You got kids. I got kids. That's what we do, right? When before you walk in, it's going to be, mom time, dad time. You walk in, right?
Yes, your office on four wheels, because that's the peace and quiet. Oh my God, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, Ramona.
My husband always jokes, like, he'll be like, "Are you home yet?" I'm like, "I'm in the driveway." Right?
My wife, Susie, is the same way, Ramona. Yeah. My kids know. It's like, is mom home yet? Oh, she's just sitting in the car, absolutely. Making phone calls and making deals and all that stuff. Unbelievable. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.